Wine is uniquely sensitive to our changing climate. Its growers and producers have been amongst the fastest and most innovative in mitigating and adapting to this climate crisis. Grand Events has pioneered international climate change and wine conferences, featuring the leading names of the industry, with such keynote speakers as Barack Obama, Al Gore, and Kofi Annan. A new edition, Green Wine Future, happens May 23rd through 26th, 2022, from across the planet in their own time zones. California, Chile, Spain, Portugal, France, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. Green Wine Future will show solutions for the wine industry in areas such as water resources, energy efficiency, biodiversity, transportation, regenerative viticulture, packaging, climate change, and many others. Using the latest virtual technology, Green Wine Future will offer a totally new format for attending a conference. Pre-recorded footage, live broadcast, and tailor-made documentaries will take delegates into vineyards, wineries, and research projects to witness firsthand which are the solutions to the environmental challenges of our industry. Visit www.greenwinefuture.com to join the most important environmental and sustainability conference for our world of wine.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to each and everyone who have put the time aside to join us for this information session on Green Wine Future 2022. Most of you will know me. I'm Marina Kalo from Wines of South Africa, and I've been working fairly closely with the Green Wine Future team to offer South African producers really good rates to participate, not only in the various sessions that will be hosted, but also in the virtual fair. So just wanted to welcome you first, and I'd love to hand you over now to Pancho Campo, who is the organizer of Green Wine Future.
Thank you, Marina. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you today, and I want to thank Wines of South Africa for your constant support towards our initiatives. We partnered for Wine Future last year, which we did right in the middle of the pandemic. Wine Future happens every other year, and Green Wine Future happens every other year. Wine Future is a conference about trends, about marketing, about what's happening with the market. Last year in March, when we did it, we had to analyze what was happening around the world with the pandemic and the effects that it was having in trade fairs, traveling, the wine industry in general. But our most ambitious project is definitely Green Wine Future. I will show you a little video now that tells you the history of this conference that started back in 2006 as the first World Conference on Climate Change and Wine. We didn't know at the time that we were going to be pioneers. It was just a coincidence, a fluke, if you allow me, that we put together a conference to analyze how the climate change and the climate crisis was impacting a very specific industry, such as the wine industry. Apparently, nobody had done it before. And that conference was not a big success. Was actually a big failure, to be honest with you, because we had 200 seats. We only got 80 people, most of them invited. But as you will see in the video, it attracted the attention of the mainstream media and of the Vice President of the United States. But let's look at the video. If Patricia, if you can play the video now. It's a short piece that tells you the history of Green Wine Future, and then we'll get back and I'll tell you the insights of who is coming to this edition and the very innovative format that we have implemented for the 2022 edition.
Wine is uniquely sensitive to our changing climate. Its growers and producers have been amongst the fastest and most innovative in mitigating and adapting to this climate crisis. Grand Events has pioneered international climate change and wine conferences, featuring the leading names of the industry, with such keynote speakers as Barack Obama, Al Gore, and Kofi Annan. A new edition, Green Wine Future, happens May 23rd through 26th, 2022, from across the planet in their own time zones. California, Chile, Spain.
Climate change has become the most challenging issue for our society, but also for our industry. Hello, this is Pancho Campo, and together with my team in 2006, we created the first World Conference on Climate Change and the Wine Industry. It was a small event, but it was attended by the most important media, both mainstream and from the wine industry. But most importantly, it caught the attention of Vice President Al Gore and his team, who invited me afterwards to attend a training personally conducted by the Vice President in Seville to become a climate leader of his foundation, the Climate Reality Project. But I convinced him to be the keynote speaker at the next edition of the World Conference on Climate Change and Wine. When he participated in the Barcelona event next to 50 or 60 of the most relevant names of the wine industry, he had just won the Nobel Peace Prize. He has just released the movie and the Oscar. So the event went from being very small, only 100 participants, to more than 600 delegates coming from 70 or 75 different parts of the world. That encouraged us to continue in our crusade to create awareness about the importance of fighting climate change. In future editions, we had the honor of counting with keynote speakers such as Secretary General Kofi Annan, Vice President Al Gore in several occasions, Director General for UNESCO Irina Bokova, and President Barack Obama at the Climate Change Porto Summit, organized or co-organized with Taylor's Port in Portugal. The 6th edition of this World Conference has now acquired the name of Green Wine Future. It will be a 100% virtual event, not so much because of the pandemic, but for 3 reasons. Number 1, we must keep our carbon footprint low. We cannot have people traveling from all over the world, private jets, flights from Australia, Chile, South Africa. Number 2, we want to be a global event. And because of that, Green Wine Future will be broadcast from 8 different time zones of the world, 8 different host regions. But it's not going to be the typical Zoom conference. We are implementing a totally new technology that has never been used, at least in the wine industry. Each speaker has been asked to produce a video with your iPhone, with a GoPro, a video at the winery, at your vineyard, at your research center, about the topic you're supposed to talk about in a panel or as a keynote. We have made an alliance with Hopin, the leading company in virtual technology for events out of Silicon Valley. And not only they will make possible this kind of technology for the participation of the speakers, but we will also have a virtual expo where companies can promote their products, their wines, their services, and an area dedicated to networking, which will be open 2 weeks prior to the event, so people can start networking, doing business, and as I said, participating in a much more live and engaging manner. The event also is a charity event. Like all the events since 2009, we try to raise funds for 3 NGOs, the Porto Protocol in Portugal, SOS Cape Town in South Africa, and Wine Unified in California. But the main goal of this conference is to unify the wine industry around the world to solve the most pressing issue that our industry, like other industries and like our society, are facing, the climate crisis. Please drop your differences, set aside your personal interests, and let's work together. It is time to act. We cannot wait any longer. Support us by registering to Green Wine Future so we can continue organizing these kinds of events. Thank you very much.
I hope you like it, Marina.
I like it. It's great. It really ties in so much to what we are doing here in South Africa with Cape Wine coming up and our theme of Sustainability 360. It really speaks to everything that our South African producers are trying to showcase and trying to achieve So I do think there's a lot for our producers to learn from the various sessions that will be hosted at Green Wine Future this year. And great to see that so many of our South African producers are also, and producers and other industry professionals are participating in a number of these forums.
Yeah, it's, yesterday we were updating the website with the speakers that had confirmed recently. We have more than 120 speakers coming from almost 50 different countries. And our speakers are divided in different categories. Of course, we have wine experts and people coming from the wine trade, viticultural managers, winemakers, winery owners, people in distribution. But we also include approximately 20% of our speakers from other industry, so we can learn what other sectors are doing. And we're very proud to announce that we have very relevant world leaders, policymakers, and even celebrities. For example, yesterday we confirmed the participation of the Minister of Agriculture from New Zealand. We also have the Secretary of Agriculture from the state of California. We have the Minister of Tourism from Panama. And people might think, well, what does Panama has to do with the wine industry? Maybe not too much, but they are regarded as one of the most sustainable destinations in the planet. And wine tourism, and you know this very well, because wine tourism, when I was in South Africa, I was very impressed with the kind of wine tourism you guys have there. And it's also sustainable. But the message we want to convey is a country like Panama that is becoming a world leader in sustainable tourism. Maybe there are lessons to be learned there. We also have people that have nothing to do with the wine industry, such as Sylvia Earle. Sylvia Earle, for those who like the marine environment, is the female version of Jacques Cousteau, a lady that I think she's about 90 years of age. She still dives the world. She still produces documentaries for National Geographic to show us how important it is to protect the marine environment. Actor from Jurassic Park, Sam Neill, everybody knows Jurassic Park, but maybe a lot of people don't know that he's a passionate winemaker. He is the owner of 2 paddocks in the South Island of New Zealand, and where he makes a beautiful Pinot Noir. Trudy Styler, Sting's wife, she's a movie producer, apart from being Sting's wife, but she's also the owner of a winery in Tuscany. Very passionate about the environment, and together with Sting, they have a foundation that helps protect the rainforest. As I said before, we have an impressive roster of speakers, 120, representing some of the most prestigious names in the wine industry. I mean, just to name a few: Gerard Bertrand, who was named Green Personality of the Year by a British magazine; Miguel Torres, former president of what family Torres Estates, now together with Katie Jackson, leading the International Wineries for Climate Action. Katie Jackson will be a speaker as well. Torres has been regarded as the most recognizable wine brand in the world. And Miguel is the perfect example of somebody that back in 2008, when Vice President Al Gore attended our event, he was so impressed and so shocked by his speech that he decided to invest not only his human resources, but a lot of money. More than 10 million euros Torres has invested in sustainability, in adapting his winery. The number of people that have confirmed their participation as a speaker it's amazing. I mean, it gives me the goosebumps to see that our conference has attracted so many big names, just to show the world that, as I said in the video, climate change is the most pressing issue that not only the wine industry has, but our society in general. I was telling Marina before that I'm just coming back from an expedition to Greenland, where I traveled to record a documentary about the impact of climate change. And this is something that we're going to launch at Green Wine Future. I was devastated to see the impacts that the climate crisis is having in the ice cap of Greenland. The temperature in that part of the world, not only in Greenland, but in the Arctic, is increasing 3 times 3 or 4 times faster than the rest of the world. Now, let's keep in mind that the ice cap in Greenland represents 8% of the fresh water of this planet. It's the second largest ice cap in the world after Antarctica. If only 30% of Antarctica melts, we want to have vineyards in Bordeaux. I am here in Marbella in Spain. The beaches will disappear. And the message that we want to convey with this documentary is how important it is to protect the most sensitive parts of the planet, even if they have nothing to do with your business. Let it be wine, tourism, business, stocks. We have to care about protecting the most sensitive parts of the planet. It's in our interest. And those sensitive parts of the planet include 4 different areas. And I mentioned this because South Africa is part of that. Number 1, surfaces under ice caps, glaciers, the Arctic, Greenland, and the Antarctica. Number 2, coral reefs and the marine environment. Number 3, the Amazons and rainforests. And number 4, parts of the planet which are in danger of severe drought, such as Cape Town, for example, or flooding, Miami. So I have made it a mission to go personally to record documentaries with my iPhone, with my GoPro, to these parts of the world, and we're going to launch the Planet Future Foundation at our conference to show, once again, and I hate to repeat myself, but the message is so important, how important it is to protect the most sensitive parts of the planet. Of course, we will go to different wine countries around the planet. Next Thursday, I'm flying to the Okanagan because the Thompson Okanagan Tourist Association is one of the sponsors of Green Wine Future. But they requested something that it really touched my heart. We want you to come to the Okanagan and record one of your documentaries to show people the impacts of the climate crisis in this part of the world, but also to show why it has been designated as the most sustainable tourist destination in America. We will go after the Okanagan, we're going to the Napa Valley, where we will make a presentation about Green Wine Future, but we will also record a documentary of the impact of the climate crisis in the wine industry in California. Eventually, we will get down to you guys. Hopefully, before the end of the year, we will go to South Africa, because South Africa, especially the wine industry of South Africa, has become a point of reference around the world of sustainable practices. I was so impressed. I've been twice to Stellenbosch and Paarl and Cape Town. I was very honored to be invited to Water Day about 3 years ago, I think it was. And I made a speech the year before we managed to convince President Obama to come to our conference. I was shocked. Although I studied what was happening with your droughts there, but I was shocked to see restaurants where you have limited water resources. In our hotel, water was available at certain parts of the day, but then we went to see the most poor parts and the townships, and we saw how important water is for a population. And you don't think about how important is water at schools, at hospitals. And that even gave me more energy to continue in our this crusade that we have started from the wine industry to try to convince other sectors of how important it is to protect the environment. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in South Africa recording one of our documentaries, but not so much about doom and gloom, but to show how beautifully you have tackled sustainability, how diverse it is your, my apologies for the redundancy, how diverse is your biodiversity, and how beautiful is your wine tourism.
Thanks, Pancho. Yes, I do agree. We here in South Africa, in our wine industry, really are at the forefront of sustainability. And I think one of the reasons why we selected the theme of Sustainability 360 for Cape Wine was because we have so many stories to tell. We are doing so much. Comparing us with the rest of the world's wine producers, I really do agree with you. South Africa are at the forefront. We are the leaders in so many ways when it comes to sustainable practices, whether it be in our vineyards, in our cellars, or with our people. So the three pillars, of course, that we are focusing on for Cape Wine are people, planet, and prosperity. And those three all go hand in hand in so many ways. And I think what we're seeing is that our producers are doing all of these things without even thinking about it. If I think of the number of producers who've come to me and said, but that's great, sustainability 360, that's a theme, but what do I talk about? And once you start kind of giving them some feedback and saying, but aren't you doing IPW? Aren't you doing A, B, C, D, and E? Well, and then they say, yes, I am. For them, it's a way of life. They're not thinking about the fact that that's a sustainable practice. It's something that they do because they want to do it, and it's part of entrenched almost in South African way of making wine, which is wonderful. But we need to tell this, and we need to tell this with pride. All of these stories that we are kind of seeing this as one of the most important things of our industry. So this is very important that we continue the narrative and really participate on an international event and stage such as Green Wine Future. So that's great. Just for all the producers that are watching this, and for those who might be watching the recording afterwards, a reminder, we did send out a newsletter to all of the WOSA members highlighting a promo code if you want to sign up to join Green Wine Future. The promo code gives you roughly almost 45% discount, which is great. Thank you very much, Pancho, for this offer to our producers. I think Pancho recognizes, number one, that we've had a pretty tough couple of years, and every little bit helps, but also we're paying in rand, so we're on a little bit of a back foot here, and any bit of assistance to really help from a financial perspective is really much appreciated. And then also, because Wines of South Africa is engaging and assisting with the promotion of the event, they are offering all our members a further 50% discount if you want to take a booth in the virtual trade show, so a virtual stand, which includes one page of advertising in the official magazine for $600 US. So all of this you can have as a WOSA member. You simply need to go to greenwinefuture.com to sign up. The promo code, I can't remember right now what the promo code is. If you go into your WOSA portal, it's in the newsletter. I'm not sure, Pancho, can you remember off the top of your head what the promo code was?
You got me there, because we're doing promotion with Wines of Chile, Wines of Argentina, so I'm a bit confused now, but I'm sure that maybe Patricia at the end of the recording, she can put it on the screen for the people that were viewing this to know what is the promo code.
She's just put it on here on our chat here. It's WOSA 55, so WOSA 55, and therein lies your discount. So thanks very much for extending that to our producers.
Our pleasure. I would like to emphasize a few points that are that make our conference slightly different from any other Zoom conference, because we have made an alliance with Hopin. Hoping is the leading country in virtual technology. This is not going to be a Zoom like we're doing now, where it's my face and your face. You're beautiful, I'm ugly. So it's 50% not pleasant to be looking at this. We are asking each speaker, 120 speakers, are going to provide us with videos that reflect the topic that they will be talking about. We've asked Miguel Torres. He wanted to talk about his new machine that sequestrates CO2 from fermentation. Go to your winery, go to your vineyard, show us on site what are you doing. Same thing with winemakers, viticultural people, research centers, water resources. So it becomes not a Zoom conference, but becomes more a Netflix kinds of documentary. And then the speakers will be there. Once their 10-minute video finishes, they will be there to answer questions or to enter a debate if they're in a panel with the other speakers. That's one of the differences with a traditional Zoom conference. Number two, and I will show you a video once I finish with this explanation. I will show you a video that we have recorded specially to show the audience how Green Wine Future is going to look like. Also, we have a virtual trade show area and a networking zone. These two areas will be open to the public 2 weeks prior to the event. So Green Wine Future starts on the 23rd of May. 2 weeks before that, you can log on with your registration and you can start having meetings, Zoom meetings. I even know of people that have already started sending their wine samples, and they're going to do a virtual tasting to potential buyers in California. Also, you can network. And again, 2 weeks prior, you can enter the networking area and start making contacts with any of the speakers, any of the delegates, or any of the sponsors. So those are some of the differences that we have implemented for this edition. But I cannot emphasize enough the level of the speakers that we have confirmed. Go to the website, click on speakers, and you will see that there's more than 100 of the most influential and knowledgeable names of the wine industry, including lots of names from South Africa. And I think it's important what you said there, Marina. It's not only important that what you're doing, but you have to communicate it. Consumers are demanding wines that are respectful with the environment, that are aware of the climate crisis. And if you don't communicate this, it's very difficult for the consumer to understand that what makes your wine different. You know, there were beautiful stories behind lots of the wineries in South Africa, and those stories need to be told. And this is also why another difference with other conferences is we are doing Green Wine Future in 8 different time zones. We're going to start in South America, time zone of Santiago de Chile, courtesy of Wines of Chile. But it doesn't mean that we're going to talk only about wines of Chile. It could be South Africa talking to in that time zone. We're going to continue with California with the support of Wines of California. Day 2, South Africa, your time zone, not only about South Africa. I think for South Africa, it's more interesting to talk about South African wine industry and your sustainability initiatives in different time zones, so you get to present what you're doing. That day also, we are going to connect with Portugal, courtesy of Wines of Portugal. Day number 3, it's all European time zones. And we start with a broadcast supported by Wines of Portugal, and we will continue, Wines of Spain, and we will continue with a connection supported by the city of Pau and Cap de Jurançon. And we're going to finish on day 4, 26th of May, starts from New Zealand time zone, and we're going to finish with Barossa, Australia. So that allows people to watch live in their own time zone. And the reason why we've done this, because we want it to be a global event. But number 2, when we did Wine Future last year, we did it in Spanish time zone from 4 to 8 o'clock. It was good for you guys in South Africa. It was good for most Europeans. But the people in California had complaints, and the people in Oceania had complaints because they had to be up at very early in the morning or late at night. Also, the official language of the conference is going to be English, but we're going to have simultaneous translation to French, to Italian, and to Spanish. And if you're a speaker that is not fluent in English, you can record your video in your mother tongue, and we will translate it, and subtitles will be available for, there's some magnificent producers with incredible sustainability initiatives in Spain. Unfortunately, our country is not very language savvy. So that when I told them that they could do their presentation and record the video speaking in Catalan or Spanish or Galician, they felt so much comfortable. And that's what we want. We want people to be able to show what they're doing, and you guys to understand and witness firsthand at a vineyard in Spain, in France, in California. And that's probably the only one thing that has come out of this pandemic, that the technology allows us to be, I'm in Marbella, you guys are in South Africa, and be connected. Last but not least, we have, as we have done in all our events, three NGOs that we like to support. And the way we support it is we donate part of the proceedings, but we donate 100% of an auction wine sales that we have implemented in all our events since 2009. So for those of you who are producers, if you would like to donate some of your wines, 100% of the sales of those wines will go to the three NGOs, which are the Porto Protocol, which I'm very happy to be part of its foundation, although it's a Portuguese initiative led by Adrian Bridge and the Taylor's House. They are doing a fantastic job in regards to the climate crisis. And the second NGO is Wine Unify out of California. It's an initiative led by a master of wine, Martin Reyes. It's all about equality, fair trade, equality of gender. And the third one is a South African initiative called SOS Cape Town. They were the ones that invited me 4 years ago to make a speech on World Water Day. And I was so impressed with the job they were doing that we decided to help them. So if you want to donate some wines, in return, we will give you a booth free of charge at the virtual trade show area. We will give you a page of advertising if you prefer that. And you just have to send us whatever number of wines that, it's to your discretion. What kind of wines and the number of bottles, we will sell them, and 100% of the proceedings will go to these three NGOs.
That's
Marina,
great.
if you would like to add anything else?
No, from my side, I think we've pretty much covered everything. Just to finish off, thank you very much, Pancho.
Before we finish, we would like to show you a 10-minute video about biodynamics that we have recorded at a winery close to where I am, as an example of the kind of presentations that our speakers are going to be doing. If you allow me, Patricia, let's play the video, and then we'll reconvene and we'll close the presentation.
Visiting the wine country of Ronda. Ronda, it's one of the most visited and most beautiful cities of all Andalusia, north of Marbella, about 60 minutes drive. And we've come to visit my friend Federico Schatz. Federico has been one of the pioneers in this region, initially with some German varieties, but eventually he has adopted grape varieties such as Pinot Noir and Tempranillo. He is passionate about the environment, about fighting the climate crisis. And we're going to use this video to show the speakers at Green Wine Future the kind of footage that we're looking for. This video is being recorded with my iPhone. I'm not even using a lapel microphone, I'm using the microphone of the camera, just to show you how easy it is to put images to what you are going to be talking about during the conferences of Green Wine Future. Join me and let's go and meet Federico Schatz.
Yes, we are here on Finca Sanguijuela, on the mountains of Sierra Sanguijuela. We are on a sea level of 700 meters and about 50 kilometers far from Africa, 40 kilometers from the Mediterranean Sea and 80 kilometers from the Atlantic Ocean. We are 8 kilometers near the town Ronda, and we are located in the province of Malaga, Andalusia, Spain. We work on our 3 hectares from 8 different grape varieties, 6 different wines. All our wines are organic, biodynamic and natural. We don't use sulfites, so we only use our own grapes and oak barrels. The grape varieties we use are Pinot Noir, Petit Verdot. Then we have also Lemberger grape. We are the only winery in Spain working 100% with Lemberger. Then we use also as Chardonnay for our white wine and Moscatel Negro for our rosé wine. And also the blend we are working is Finca Sanguijuela, the brand name, and it's a blend of 3 grape varieties. Here we use Tempranillo, Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. We we are near to the Mediterranean Sea, but separated from high mountain. It's Sierra de las Nieves, who has more or less 2,000 meters of high. So we have more influence of Atlantic climate. That means that the winter months, as January, February, March, we have a low temperature in the night, -5, -3, -10, -15 was the lowest temperature I have measured here. And in the day, when you have a day without any wind and any clouds, you can have easily 20, 25 degree at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. In summer, the temperature rise up to 30 degree. The average temperature is more or less 27, 29, 33, but some days also with 40. But again, in the night, the temperature goes down until more or less a level of 18, 16 degrees. So it's a really fresh area in the night. And we have only rainfall in the winter period from October to May. No rain is coming from May to October. And so we have a natural dry stress situation, who is, I think, very nice for our vines, because so they have to go very deep down with their roots. And so finally they have more extension of the roots, and you can catch more minerality from the soil. We have enough rainfall because we are very near to a mountain area who is called Grazalema. Grazalema, it's about 20 kilometers far from us in the north part, in the province of Cadiz. And there we have a space who it's the rainiest space from Spain and also from Europe. So we have more or less there in this spot 4,000 liter rainfall per square meter per year. And here in Ronda we have more or less average value of about 500, 600 liter per square meter each year. So it's a really interesting area because it's southerly surface, but completely good, still good with enough rainfall. And so it's a very nice thing, this combination of the very low temperature in the night and enough rainfall in the winter period. The grape varieties are also a very important tool for us. So we can work with long cycle grape varieties. For example, we are working with Petit Verdot also. So Petit Verdot is a very long cycle grape variety, needs much more maturing period. And so finally you are entering again in the cool autumn to do the harvest, and so you have another possibility to fight against the climate change. Also you can work in the soil with different fertilizing. For example, we have also fertilized it here a lot with cool, vegetative cool, you know. So finally this helps also to have more humidity in the soil. You can have much more hygroscopicity, and there's also a much bigger surface who is catching the CO2, and finally that helps also to avoid the climate change. And fantastic soil is also important. When you see the roots of the plants, finally you see also these composition of different part of the soil is linked together like with glue. This is a really nice connection to the soil, who is the basic thing of all. Well, as we are organic and biodynamic and natural, so we work also with the biodynamic herbs. So it's a huge help in the soil. So we have really a good soil. We have really a soil with enough nutrients. We have a soil who is completely ordered because of the application of the biodynamic products, mainly the 500 product, you know, the cow manure. Finally, we can have an order in the soil, and when you have an order in the soil, finally you can have a fruit from your plant, in this case the grapes from our vines, with a really natural order inside. So when you bring these fine and mature and ordered grapes to the cellar to produce a wine of them, you have finally, if you do a smooth winemaking in the cellar, also a very nice order in the wine, and so the wine is stable for its own. You need no much more. And also you can have really in a complicated year, or in a year where it's a little bit more hot or whatever, when you have a natural soil, when you have an organic soil, you have the help from the microorganisms, and finally you can have a little bit like a smoother working, and the wines have not so much stress as, for example, in other conventional soils. And also when you have covered your wines, as we have covered them with our green fertilizer fertilizer, you can have minimum 10 degree of Celsius less of temperature inside of the soil. So this helps also a lot again. And also when you have a lot of green fertilizer, a lot of weeds, you will have finally also much more humidity in the soil. It's not the other opposite thing. The people are thinking that the weeds are taking out the humid, but it's the opposite thing, because they are covering the soil, they are giving a shadow to the soil, and so they are protecting the water who has come from the winter period, and also the temperature. And of course, you can also have your own energy, as we have. You can see on the backstage our solar panels. We were the solar station, the first solar station, private solar station in Andalusia, the biggest one in the 90s when we have produced this. And with these solar panels, we have enough energy for all of the energy we need for our winemaking, and of course for our private living in our house and so on. So since '93 we are completely disconnected from the grid. We don't need extra energy. So finally, this is a thing who everyone can do today, and it's also very cheap now. The prices have going very low of the solar panels, so now it's not expensive. Now it's really economically to have your own solar panels. And what we are seeking for this is that each person have the historically possibility who we have now to produce for the first time their own energy. And then later on, when you need more energy, you can have from the grid. So it's much more easy now when we have solar panels in our own houses. Each roof can be covered with solar panels, schools, industrial area, industrial stores, whatever. And later on, then we can see if we need much more energy from the grid, who have to come, for example, from other producers. So it's really a good thing, and finally we can avoid to not have to build more grids. We don't need more wires and so on, because we have the grids from the beginning, so it's completely enough. So this is really a good point, to produce our own energy, and our energy is produced in the spot where we are using the energy, so we don't have to bring the energy from another point. And this is very good for your CO2 footprint, you know. When we use the biodynamic herbs and the biodynamic preparations, finally we can help the soil to be a better soil, a soil with more order. We can help also to the plants to be more healthier, that they have more force, that they have more capacity to catch the nutrients from the soil. And so finally, when you are using the biodynamic preparations, finally you can give a stronger help to all the plants and the soil, that they can really fight against these more hotter days, or these some period of less rain and of dryness. And those they are really have more strongness and are more prepared to kind of fight all against these things who are coming. Also, we have to understand, when we don't use chemical fertilizers, finally we have no salt in the soil. And you know, when you use chemical fertilizers, the soil is very salty, and you need much more water to that plants can grow in these salty soil.
Well, that was a 10-minute video that we put together to show our speakers the kind of footage that we're looking for, but also to show the audience what they can expect from Green Wine Future. It was made with my iPhone 13. I didn't use, as I mentioned in the video, I didn't use a microphone. The only resource that allow me to use there is I'm a very passionate drone filmmaker, but you don't need to use a drone. I mean, if you can, it's even better. You know, it showcases your winery and your brand much better. And it took me exactly 3 hours to travel to Ronda from my house, record the footage, and come back. And I spent 2 hours editing the video. So in 5 hours, I had that piece ready. what I'm trying to tell you is that it's so easy and it's so much more useful for your brand, for your company, and to present your topic using this kind of footage than just sitting in front of the telephone like we're doing now. This is the kind of presentations that we are getting from most of our speakers. That video was a very simple video. It didn't have much technical content. We didn't want it to make it too technical, but I think it shows the kind of event that you guys can expect. If you have any question, Marina, or anybody in our audience, I'll be happy to answer.
Nothing from my side. I'm not sure if anyone in the audience does, though.
No, I don't see any questions in the chat. Anyway, all the information has been updated this morning in the website, www.greenwinefuture.com. We have added 2 more speakers, and we still have about 8 or 9 more speakers to come. So that will take us to almost 130 speakers, the most influential and the most prestigious names in the wine industry. As I said, we have names from South Africa. I would like to thank you guys, as the governing body of the wine industry in South Africa, for your support. I think it's important that people participate. For less than $70, you will have access live or during 1 month to 24 panels, 14 keynote speeches. You will be given a link to download a virtual magazine. And, if any company is interested in advertising the magazine, it will go to 180,000 members of the wine trade from almost 70 countries. And because we're all in the wine trade and we're all interested in wine and sustainability, chances are that a lot of people are going to download that magazine. As I said, the videos will be available to watch for a month after the event. And you can visit the website where you can have all the information about the program, about the topics. The program will be launched on Monday with the specific topics of each panel, the speakers that are going to participate in each panel and each keynote. It's taking David Fuhrer is our program director. He has done an exceptional job to recruit the speakers, but also he is working in so much detail to make sure that all the panels are coherent with the topic, that they have the right speakers and they have the right moderator. And of course, we have to put it together with Patricia to make sure that when you join us during Green Wine Future, May 23rd to 26th, the content is relevant. I cannot emphasize how important it is to tackle the climate crisis. I am 60 years old. I have made a mission in my life to work to create awareness about fighting the climate crisis and protecting our planet. My kids did not believe when Daddy was going to Greenland, and we were there for almost 2 weeks. We had tremendous challenges because we got flights canceled due to climate uncertainty. We got helicopters that could not fly. We all got COVID while we were there. We were supposed to be diving under the ice for 3 days. We can only do it for 1 day because, all the crew, all 5 members of the team got infected with the damn virus. But we managed to record the footage that shows how important it is to protect our planet. When I was arriving in Greenland, that was like a dream come true for me. And then you realize that this planet is very special. And it's my duty as a father, as a member of our society, to try to protect this planet. And the mission of Green Wine Future is to do it within the wine industry. So, I ask you to support us by joining the conference. Your $68 or $70 will help us tremendously to continue in this crusade that we started back in 2006. But also, we will help you by bringing together the most relevant names of the wine industry and other industry and providing you with solutions. We don't believe in doom and gloom. We think that Green Wine Future has to provide strategies, initiatives, and solutions to the climate crisis and other aspects of the environment. So thank you very much for attending this presentation, and let's all work together to make our wine industry a leader in sustainability and protecting the planet. And I thank you, Marina and Wines of South Africa, for all your support.
Thank you, Pancho, and to everyone who tuned in to watch this.
Wine is uniquely sensitive to our changing climate. Its growers and producers have been amongst the fastest and most innovative in mitigating and adapting to this climate crisis. Cronde Events has pioneered international climate change and wine conferences, featuring the leading names of the industry, with such keynote speakers as Barack Obama, Al Gore, and Kofi Annan. A new edition, Green Wine Future, happens May 23rd through 26th, 2022, from across the planet in their own time zones. California, Chile, Spain, Portugal, France, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. Green Wine Future will show solutions for the wine industry in areas such as water resources, energy efficiency, biodiversity, transportation, regenerative viticulture, packaging, climate change, and many others. Using the latest virtual technology, Green Wine Future will offer a totally new format for attending a conference. Pre-recorded footage, live broadcast, and tailor-made documentaries will take delegates into vineyards, wineries, and research projects to witness firsthand which are the solutions to the environmental challenges of our industry. Visit www.greenwinefuture.com to join the most important environmental and sustainability conference for our world of wine.